Alrighty. You can see basically the door, one side of the door is for the most part finished. I didn't do this part up here yet because when I add this piece of sheet metal, okay, I'm gonna do an S-cleat, probably bend it into the material, and I'm gonna go up, make my bend over, and then come back down the other side. So that where there's two seams here, but that'll make a nice tight fit. So I'm going to do that. I'll bend it and put it down. The reason I didn't do that yet, and you can see how there's ripples in this, okay, all over the place. You're not going to get it to lay perfectly flat unless it's really, really thick sheet metal. But do you really care what it looks like? I do to a degree. You might not know by looking at this that I am a bit of a perfectionist, but on my behalf, I've never done this before. I have never built an oven of this size. So you're seeing how I'm doing it as I'm going. If I make mistakes, you're seeing the mistakes. I'm not like these other clowns on YouTube. They do everything and they're like, okay, well, fuck that up, so I got to edit that part out and I got to redo this. And you can tell by the way the videos are put together that they take out all their fuck ups. Leave them in. That's what I do. I leave them in. I want you, the people of this great country of ours, that hopefully will be great once again in 2024. But anyway, you want, I don't know, I just like leaving my goofs in there, and I know I rattle on, and but I've had a lot of positive comments about that. I say it the way it is, I rattle on, I don't edit, because that, to me, that's not, I'm not a professional video photographer, so I'm not going to edit. Yes, I could go through all the trouble, I have all the different software, I could go through the trouble of editing it, taking out all the little screw-ups. I could make this look a lot better, right? Add a few more screws, get the insulation and everything in, this would lay flatter. But I don't care. Now, here's something you can do though. Once think about this is a big ass door, 4 foot, but I want my opening big enough. So if I put a axle in there, like say rear end differential in there, you want to have room enough. So if you're going to push something in there that's almost 4 foot wide, it can only be 45 inches, 46. 45 and a half or whatever, so not quite 4 feet. So I want the door to be able to fully open, and to me it'll be more secure, and I'll show you that because once you mount your hinges on this, the hinges, you're going to use a decent sized hinge, so it'll screw into this, but on the inside, and it's going to overlap the sides of the walls that are already in there, and the same thing with the locks. The locks I'm putting on this are basically, I don't know if you can see this, they're the same as this, the latches. Basically it's just a simple latch like that, but you want it mounted on the side, so this has to be flush, so when you flip it, it'll pull the door tight. For a door gasket, I'll show you that. I'm using a fireplace glass gasket. You don't have to, you can use a stove gasket. I'm using a fireplace gasket because it has a high temperature adhesive on it. So once I get the door finished, this is going to be the outside of the door. Once I get the door finished, I will put the tape on there, the insulation. It's 1/8 of an inch thick by 1 inch wide. I'll do that all the way around the door. So that way there, when you close it and use the levers, clasps, whatever you want to call them, it'll pull it tight, so you have a good tight finish seal. So anyway, there's basically the door, and it took me a couple hours at least, because you figure I had to cut out each stud, I had to cut out the track with the top and bottom, and like I say, I just folded it over, so it's a lot sturdier than what it was. It's not going to really twist the rack that much, but once I get the other side done, then it's going to really stiffen it up. So anyway, I'll turn it around so you can see this. It's starting to get heavy. So once I add my inside sheet metal, it's going to be a heavier gauge. this is not, it's going to be a 2-person job to lift it, but it's going to be heavier than crap. So, well, I won't need help, but I'm just saying it's going to be heavy. So keep in mind, depending on the size door. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to say, well, you know, that's stupid to build a door that big. I'm only going to build it. If you build it 4 foot wide, your dimension of the oven, you may think, I'm never going to need 4 feet, but I'll build it 4 feet, not a problem. But I'm only going to make the door 30 inches, 32 inches. That's fine. And then one day, you're going to try to fit something in there, and you're not going to be able to get it in even at an angle, and you're going to be kicking yourself saying, son of a bitch. That's why if you look online for the different manufacturers of the powder coat ovens, I'm not plugging Eastman. Theirs are right around $5,000, I think. Well, their door is pretty much a full door. I've seen people make them smaller than, you know, but I want a full door so I can get something big ass in there. If I want to put a friggin' fender in there, I can powder coat that bad boy. So with an oven of this size, okay, inside dimension is roughly 46, 7 feet tall, well, 81 inches tall, I think, 83, something like that. I'll get all that down. So anyway, I'm going to break this down into multiple parts as I go, because who wants to watch a freaking hour of somebody doing this? So I'll probably break it down into 2 or 3 parts. So the first part will be, you know, putting the door together in the walls, because the door and the walls, exact same thing. There really is no difference. The only difference that I did for strength-wise is I put these 12 inches. On the walls in the back wall, I went 16 on center. Because you don't need that to be that strong, because you're not going to... Now, if you're going to want to be able to maneuver it, you're going to have to add some strengthening to it. But it's solid the way it sits. I'm going to lay sheet metal on the concrete, because I have epoxy floors in here. So I'm going to lay sheet metal on the bottom of it, because I don't know if the epoxy... Basically what I'll do is when I fire it up, I'm going to fire it up to 450 degrees minimum, and I'm going to let it bake probably for an hour or 2 to burn everything off. But anyway, what I was saying, what you can do, all right, is before you mount your door, okay, before you mount your door, like I say, you don't care what it looks like. You know, do you want to pay $5,000 for an oven of this size, or $6,000, or do you want to pay roughly $300? You know, it's like 300 sounds a little bit better. But anyway, what you can do is once you get it fired up, before you put hinges and everything on this, clamp it to your oven with this side in, okay, with the outside in. Then powder coat it, okay? You can powder coat it, no problem. Preheat it, burn off any oil residue, burn off these stickers, get all that burned off. Then you can wipe it down with acetone, which you should do with all your parts. Clean it, powder coat it, and then put the door back up on there and turn the oven, you know, roughly back on to heat it, and you could actually coat the outside of this door with any color that you want with a powder coat. If you do that, that would stiffen up the metal also, and it would quiet it down. So that's a thought. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to coat this door. I may go Ford blue. I'm a Ford person. I may go Ford blue. If I really wanted to get fancy, I could go chrome, okay, or a silver first coat, and then add a transparent blue or red or whatever on top of that, and it really gets a really, really nice look. So, you know, that's like weeks down the road. Because this isn't something you can do overnight. Or if you did it on a weekend, you're good. You know, but that's working like, you know, a couple of days, 8-10 hour days, you could probably get it done. I'm doing all this by hand, cutting the studs and all that with tin snips. You know, why get the saw and all that out and change blades. So, anyway, I'm going to cut this one here. This may be part 1, I don't know. I'm going to put them all together and see where I need to make my cuts to shorten them. Not to shorten them, but yeah, to shorten them roughly 30 minutes each. So I'm guessing this is probably going to be a 3 or 4 hour, layout. Once I get the door finished and the cabinet itself done, all those walls, get all that insulated, not the outside, but the inside. Once I get all the inside done, I'll get a shot of that. Then I'm going to show you how to wire it, because that can be tricky. So I'm going to show you a simple way to wire it. It's really very, very simple. I have the equipment, but I'll give you a list of exactly what you need for that. You can get it on Amazon, for your controls to keep the temperature accurate. So I'll do all that later on. So there we go. Thanks for watching. Okay, there you go. This would be the inside of the door. And keep in mind, you'll do the exact same thing whether you're building a wall or a door. So just keep that in mind. The only thing different that you would do, like if you notice, my track, which is this here, goes across the bottom as one piece. Then I folded it, cut it and folded it up, ended it here, okay? Because I got about 10 footers. And I did the same thing here. So that bottom piece up to there, over and up to here is one solid piece. Same thing from here. If you look at this piece, it goes up. This is one piece cut across, okay, and then down, okay. And I got a stud in the corner too. Just gives it the little. I still got some screws to put in. Gives it that extra sturdiness, which doesn't hurt. I got to run when I put the sheet metal in the back of this. Run the screws in. It'll pull all this tight together. So anyway, wall or door. That's exactly what it should look like when you're finished. Well, not finished, but when you're ready to do your thing. Now, you can line the outside of it, because the outside is not going to get that hot. You can use fiberglass insulation. Fiberglass insulation will not start to melt until you hit right around 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. American. Fahrenheit, not Celsius. So, you can use fiberglass. It absolutely, in no way, so I got to make some adjustments here. I got to pull this up a little bit and get it up in there, but sagging a little bit. But anyway, you can use fiberglass. Okay, you don't have to. People are dumb. Sorry, not to insult the whole world. But anyway, fiberglass insulation has a melting point of 1200 degrees. If you got a powder coat oven you're making and you get that baby over 1200 degrees, you got some serious shit going on, man. Everything's gonna fucking melt. So, including the parts in it. So anyway, you only have to worry about if it's rated up to, let's say 500 degrees, which isn't an issue for fiberglass. You don't have to buy all the shit they saw on the internet now and on Amazon. Oh, it's oh God, isn't that terrible? I can't think of what it's called. It's like a ceramic type insulation, spun insulation. Don't fall for that. You do not need that high of a temperature insulation. Even if you left your oven going, oh shit, I forgot, and you left it on for 24 hours, came back out the next day, yeah, the sides are going to be warm, the door is going to be warm, but the insulation is going to be fine. If you really want to go heavier insulation, then go thicker walls. Go 2.5 inch if you want. This insulation here, 2 inches of insulation is, I believe, R6. I want to say, I'm not 100% positive, but I believe it's R6. It depends on the type insulation. This is kind of like a rock wool or whatever. But fiberglass insulation. So don't cram it in. If you buy R11, which is 2.5, 3 inches, whatever it is, of insulation, don't compress it. What makes insulation, people think, oh, well, I got a 3.5 inch wall, I'll jump R19 in there and I'll just force it in. No, it's the air gaps in insulation is what provides the insulation, is all the little air gaps. So it's important, do not crush it down. Don't build your oven thinking, well, you know what, I'm going to put R11 in that 2.5 inch space. No. Well, actually, you almost could R11. But anyway, don't compress it. It's the air pockets that make insulation that gives us this thermal ability, is air pockets. So anyway, just saying, fiberglass is perfectly fine. You don't need anything special. You don't need anything high temperature. If you're going to, like I say, 1200 degrees, that's pretty toasty. You ain't going to get your oven that hot. So anyway, that's basically how your wall should look. Your wall and your door. This is a door. I went 12-inch on center. Walls, I went 16 on center. So anyway, this is about the door, kind of in the walls. So I'll probably just have this as one video. Then I'll have another one where I'll add the hardware, the hinges, the sheathing on this side of it, so the door will be complete. I have to pick that up tomorrow. I didn't get a chance to do it today. So anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Hit the little B in the bottom right hand corner. If you want to subscribe, hit the little ringy-dingy bell, and it'll notify you every time I upload a video. And believe it or not, we are over 36,000 views. I've had 200 or 300 views in the last couple of days. So thank you, everybody who watches my videos. Whether you like them or not, once you watch it, it's watched. So I really appreciate that. I have 69 followers. Need to hit 1,000 to make money. That'll never happen. Anyway, thank you.